Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Master Obi-197. My name is Josh, and in this video I'm going to talk about what I like or love about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Also, this is the first part of a new series I'm starting on my channel about what I love or like about the 6 original Star Wars movies or films. And of course in this video I'm starting with The Phantom Menace. So anyway, like I said, I'll be talking about what I like or love about The Phantom Menace. Of course, The Phantom Menace is the first Star Wars movie or film in chronological order or story order. Of course, it was the fourth Star Wars movie made and released. Also, this is the first Star Wars movie I ever saw. I was a little kid when The Phantom Menace came out, and my dad took me to see it. And that's the first time I ever saw a Star Wars movie. And then my dad, after we saw Episode 1, in the theater later, he showed me Episodes 4, 5, and 6 at home, and he explained about how Episodes 4, 5, and 6 take place later in the story than Episode 1, but were made before. Of course, as a kid, I didn't understand the concept of a prequel until my dad explained it to me. So anyway, this is the first Star Wars movie I ever saw. One of the things I like about the Phantom Menace is the character of Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon, he's kind, he's calm, and he's compassionate. I think with these traits that he exemplifies what a Jedi or Jedi Knight should be. Qui-Gon, he shows compassion to Jar Jar and Anakin in this movie. Also, Qui-Gon, he's known as a maverick. He's also even willing to go against what the Jedi Council says if he thinks that's the right thing to do. Also, I think Qui-Gon would be my favorite Star Wars character in this movie just on its own. Anyways, next I'll talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi. As I've mentioned in a previous video, I think Obi-Wan is my favorite Star Wars character overall in Star Wars. But anyway, in this movie, he's an apprentice or a Padawan to Qui-Gon Jinn, and I like seeing Obi-Wan here as a younger man. And also, Obi-Wan doesn't have as much of a role in this movie as he does in some of the other Star Wars movies, but I still the role he had in this movie. Also, Obi-Wan, he's more by the book than Qui-Gon. He's more for going by the Jedi rules than Qui-Gon is. Like I said before, Qui-Gon's a maverick. Obi-Wan, he's more for going by the rules and what the council says. In one scene in this movie, he tells Qui-Gon, if you just followed the code, you'd be on the council. Also, I like seeing Anakin as a kid in this movie. It shows how young and innocent he was at this time, which of course sets up the tragedy later where he falls to the dark side and becomes Darth Vader, becomes a Sith Lord. And I think that might have been one of the reasons George decided to start Episode 1 when Anakin was a kid, to show him being really young and innocent long before his fall. And I think in some ways that makes his fall even more tragic. But Anakin in this movie, he's innocent and kind. In one scene, his mother, Smee, says he knows nothing of greed. Also, I liked Padme or Queen Amidala in this movie. We see what she's willing to do to help her people and her planet. And of course, at the end of the movie, she's able to take her planet back from the Trade Federation. Also, I like the planets that we see in this movie. I like Naboo, and of course, Naboo was a new planet. Somebody watching this had already seen the original trilogy. Also, I think Naboo has very beautiful scenery. I like the Naboo's capital city of Theed. And also I like, again, the scenery both land and underwater. We go underwater and see the Gungan cities or city underwater. And also I like seeing Tatooine in this movie. And also in this movie, when they go to Tatooine, we see a different city than what was seen in Episode 4. In this movie, we see the city of Mos Espa on Tatooine, where the city that was seen on Tatooine in Episode 4 was Mos Eisley. So we get to see a different city Also, I like the pod racing sequence, which of course Anakin wins to win his freedom. I thought that was a great sequence. Also, I liked seeing Coruscant. I thought it was great seeing the capital of the Galactic Republic, and the galaxy. Of course, during the original trilogy, Coruscant, it was at least once indirectly mentioned, but we never got to see it because, of course, when the original trilogy was made, the technology at that time wasn't where Coruscant should be, where Coruscant could be seen on screen or shown on screen. Of course, later George, when he did the special editions, he had the scene at the end of Return of the Jedi where Coruscant is seen during the celebrations at the end of that movie. But aside from that, this is the first time anyone has seen Coruscant on screen, so I think it was great to see Coruscant on screen. Also, I like that in Coruscant we get to see the Jedi Temple, what the Jedi Order's base of operations look like. We get to meet the Jedi Council and see how they operated, and we get to see some of the Jedi that's on the council for the first time, like Mace Windu and Ki-Adi-Mundi. And also we get to see the Galactic Senate and how it works, and we also see that the system in the Senate and the Republic has flaws, and there's corruption in the Senate. And of course Queen Amidala, or Padme, of course she goes before the Senate to try to get help for her people and her planet, but due to the flaws in the system, she's not able to. And of course this leads to her vote of no confidence in Supreme Chancellor Valorum, and of course Palpatine manipulated all of this so Valorum could be voted out of office and Palpatine could become the new Supreme Chancellor. Also, I liked Darth Maul in this movie. I think Darth Maul was a good villain in this movie. I liked the double-bladed lightsaber he had, and I liked the scene where Darth Maul says to Sidious, "At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge." I thought that was a great scene. Also, I liked Darth Sidious in this movie as well. And we see, of course, Sidious manipulate the Trade Federation, but we also see him and his persona of Senator Palpatine, and we see how he uses both of those personas to manipulate different people to further his plans and goals. Also, later in the movie, I like that. I like how both the people of Naboo, which are called the Naboo, and the Gunkins, how they decide to work together. And of course, these two, different kinds of people, they lived on the same planet, Naboo, but they were, really different from each other, and they didn't have anything to do with each other. But I like how near the end of this movie that they decide to put their differences aside and work together to fight a common enemy that's threatened their planet, which of course is the Trade Federation. So I like that as well. Also, I like the duel or the fight between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Darth Maul at the end of the movie. I thought the fight was really good and epic. Also, I like the location the fight took place in, the generator complex with the platforms and the shield, generators and stuff. Also, I think it's one of the best lightsaber fights in the Star Wars movies. And of course, this fight was called Duel of the Fates. I also really like the Duel of the Fates musical theme that John Williams composed for this fight sequence. Of course, John Williams' music for the Star Wars movies is always really good. And of course, it's sad that when Darth Maul kills Qui-Gon. Also, I like when Obi-Wan, when he surprises Darth Maul and jumps over him and cuts him in half. Really like that part. And also, of course, things would have turned out differently. Qui-Gon had lived and had become Anakin's master and mentor. And also, I like the victory celebration at the end of the movie. So anyway, these are some things that I liked about the Phantom Menace. Also, in my next video, I'll talk about Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Anyways, please let me know y'all's thoughts on the Phantom Menace in the comments below. Thank you all for watching my video. Y'all have a great day, and also may the force be with you.